back to Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard. Only on the Vegas Stats and Information Network. Sirius XM Channel 204.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Live in Las Vegas. The Ass Man.
Positivity.
You're watching the show on fuboTV. Look at that, some Seinfeld figurines today. Charlie M's in studio. He was bearing gifts earlier on the show. He's going to come up in a half an hour today. Paul Stone to recap the Golden Nugget contest and who does he like in Monday's national title game. Let's begin.
Oh, we got more. Eskin, Roper, come on. Huge show.
You don't go too nuts at the beginning of the show.
You got to set the tone, man. Set the scene.
I disagree. Howard Eskin, 2 hours from now. Eagles, Bears. Did the Bears make a mistake, huh? They basically said, you know what? Screw this. We want Philadelphia in the playoffs.
Pretty much.
And then later on, Richard Roper to bet the Golden Globes. The 4 games that we have coming up this weekend in the National Football League, I can't recall this, where 3 of them are under a field goal. We talked to Mark Lawrence about those numbers yesterday, how dogs getting 3 points, or less have done so well in this round over the years. I heard Jimmy Vaccaro. Are you surprised by this? He was on right away this week with Brent and My Guys in the Desert, and he said action on the games very slow. He said the numbers are so rock solid. These teams are so close. People at that point don't know what to do with them.
Yeah. It'll pick up. It'll get crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Steve Makinen deserves a raise. 3 times yesterday reading Point Spread Weekly, had to compose myself and take a walk. The staggering numbers coming up in this round alone, and the info I gave out yesterday, courtesy of Teddy Covers, with the 80% angle with the strength of schedule. I really like the Colts, and the more I look at it. Now, the Texans have been out-yarded 4 of their last 5 games. The offensive line has all kinds of issues. They're 0-4 straight up and 1-3 ATS when favored by less than 3 points. And the Colts have won 9 of 10. How about this? Since Week 7, they've led the NFL in point differential and points allowed per game. 16. Can they put heat on them? Maybe. But I know they've had a lot of success against this team, and the fact that it's bizarre that they've won 5 of the last 6 in Houston. But all these games have been close. 10 in a row between these teams, decided by single digits. And during that streak, 5 and 1 last 6 in Houston, every game decided by 7 or fewer as well. But it's also seems like a correlated parlay here when you look at the fantastic numbers from Makinen, that when the dog wins Wildcard round, the road team, it tends to go under as well. And that totals up to 48.5 in some spots. So I agree with the move, as it's been Indy money. And I think Indy's going to win the game and give Kansas City all they can handle in the divisional round.
No, so we touched on that part of it, of this game with Gil yesterday. And he said, boy, it just feels weird because nobody's making the case for Houston. And I thought that was going to be the case. And again, on Monday, bet them plus 2.5 and had that in pocket. And now it's sitting at 1.5 in most shops as I look at the vsin.com betting board here, all of these spots across Las Vegas. I think this game's going to go down to a pick 'em. Or the Colts actually might be favored in the game by kickoff.
Maybe.
I actually would bet on that happening.
Texans, 6th team to make the playoffs after starting 0-3. Only one. The 92 Chargers won a playoff game. We got a team on a roll here. Great turnaround by the Texans, but the Colts just kicking ass and taking names. Maybe you're concerned about the back-to-back road games, as they had the Sunday night and now the short term. That doesn't help. Go Sunday night, now you got to play the early Saturday game.
They got screwed, quite frankly.
Yes, they did.
By the schedule.
And the Texans had an easy ride against Jacksonville. So, but you look at this, and it's been a struggle for them, at least with the yards and how they played down the stretch. And that defense has to do a better job. Outstanding last week, but it was Bortles. Whole different ballgame against Luck. And you saw when St. Nick did to him 2 weeks ago as well. And it's also unique and strange that they split the regular season, but both road teams won. And we know it was the Frank Reich game, the 37-34. But as Mark Lawrence said, the odds makers think the Colts are the better team, and that the Colts should have won both games.
Both those games, yep. So you can tell me right now, when I say this, it's going to sound like I'm picking and choosing. Well, maybe. But I was never really that impressed by Houston when they went on that long winning streak. I thought they were beating some bad teams, and quite frankly, they were getting lucky in some of those games. You could say the same thing about the Colts, actually.
Yeah, they both played an easy schedule.
Right. And the Colts coming back, honestly, they probably should have lost that game to the Giants at home a couple of weeks back. But watching that team play during their streak, I just thought, man, they're better. They are a better football team than the Texans. Watson, by the way, he faces pressure himself. I don't love his pocket awareness. I know he can scramble, but man, it feels like he brings it on every single time he drops back to pass. And if the Colts can actually, I know this is asking a lot, but if they can somehow slow down Hopkins, do you like his options right now?
Nope.
QT, I guess, is going to be available. But after that,
double him, make someone else beat you.
Yeah, right.
And let Hopkins beat you. I'm with you on that one. The late game, to me, all the pressure is on Dallas. Two playoff wins since 1997.
Mm-hmm.
That is a joke.
The rating for this game is going to be off the charts high.
Probably. Now, the other thing, why I think all the pressure's on Dallas, all the postseason failures, you give up a number 1 pick to get Cooper. You got your so-called new triplets now. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year for Seattle. They're playing with house money as far as I'm concerned. 10-6 against 10-6. Cowboys laying 2. We know about Garrett at home as a favorite. Unmitigated disaster. 16-32-1 ATS at home as a favorite. 1-6 ATS is a favorite, 3 points or less. And to me, all the pressure's on Dallas. Got to get this win. And he goes back on the hot seat with a loss. You give up a first-round pick for Cooper. And 2 years ago, you're the 1 seed. You're one and done. You lose 34-31. You shouldn't even count. Put an asterisk by it. One of the wins, they beat Stafford. 24-20 in 2014 and beat the Eagles in 2009. I mean, it's bad. I mean, come on. The Dallas Cowboys have 2 playoff wins since 1997.
Explain hot seat, by the way, because I disagree. Now with Jerry Jones. I think this guy made the playoffs this year. I think he gets a pass. I would not be surprised if we hear that he gets an extension at some point.
Man, that's unfortunate.
He's Marvin Lewis all over again.
Bad game management strategy as well. You saw what happened 2 years ago. Last time he was in a big game
against Green Bay.
He brought a knife to a gunfight. He's just sitting there, and then he didn't play the clock right at the end as well. You're going against Aaron Rodgers. You
Botched
can't
that
give
up
him
big time. Yeah,
totally did.
The first time they played. Now this was many moons ago, but it was 24-13 Seattle. Carson had 102 yards rushing in that game. Wilson wasn't great, but he was effective enough. He was 16 of 26 for $192 and 2 scores. Zeke was awesome against the Seattle defense. He had 16 carries for $127, and I think he can maybe do that again. But it was Dak. Dak threw for 168 yards, and they lost by 11 points.
They own him. They beat him 6-7. I remember 2000. It's fun to talk about. Doesn't matter now, but the botched field goal game with Romo in 2006 playoff game. And Dak against Seattle struggled, and this is amazing. This is a postseason record. 9 straight trips to the postseason. Seattle's won at least a game. Unbelievable. 9 in a row.
Wow, so that goes way back to...
Hasselbeck and all those
days,
guys.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
So you have that angle, and then you got a team that can't win a postseason game with Dallas, and especially all Garrett's issues. It's a tough one.
Yep.
But it's just, you want to go to war with Garrett. This feels like a correlated parlay. If Seattle wins, you think it's got to be low scoring? Don't you think?
I think the game's going to be low scoring.
No scoring
yes.
anyways.
Yeah, right. And then on Sunday, we get a rematch. These teams just met a couple of weeks back. Baltimore's favored by 2.5. I actually do see 2 threes out there. One's here at the South Point. Another one's at William Hill. And the total is 41.5 at most spots, 42 at the South Point, and a couple of others as well. Again, that game a couple of weeks back on that Saturday night in L.A. could have gone either way. Phillip Rivers, I thought, was just, come on, first play of the game, INT in that game.
And he's open. He underthrew him.
Yeah, sure. And then Gates with the fumble.
Yeah.
And then they're going down to maybe win the game, and then it's 22-10. So it looks a little bit worse than what it was.
I want the Chargers on the road. It's not even close. It's not even debatable. They're 7-1 on the road with wins at Pittsburgh and Kansas City. The only road loss was against the Rams. And I also think the Chargers have an edge that they saw Baltimore already and saw this offense and what Baltimore wants to do. And I think they'll be better. They'll be more organized and have a much better game plan than what they did on offense. And I credit Baltimore, but there was a flat spot and a bad performance by the Chargers on that Saturday night game. And I think now you got a rookie making a playoff start against the veteran. Rivers is awesome as a playoff dog, unbelievable in his career as a playoff dog. So I want the Chargers on the road, no home field advantage. But I agree with John Murray. I think it also helps that they already saw him and they got beat too. And looked lousy doing it.
Here's the one thing that would concern me. If you can notice right away in this game that the Ravens can establish the run with Gus Edwards, not with Lamar, because the first time they met, Gus running the ball effectively actually opened it up for Lamar, and then actually was, I think, partially responsible for that nice pass. And that was a beautiful pass that Lamar Jackson made for that touchdown, the long one in that game against the Chargers the first time. But if they can get the ground game going, that changes things completely with that team. because that's going to make Lamar Jackson even better. So slow down Gus, and I think you can cut the head off the monster here for Baltimore. I actually think he's the key to the running game more so than Lamar Jackson.
All right, fair enough. And we'll see what Gordon can do, and now that Rivers has these weapons back. 5-1 ATS is a playoff dog, by the way, with Rivers. And the late game is so intriguing. The 3-6. See Trubisky here against St. Nick, and they're 4-1 with Foles, and they've won 5 of 6. Eagles on a roll here. You know, like Major League, right? Jobu, Serrano. They got the shrine to Foles and everything in his locker room, and they're going to make it happen. And this is going to come. I mean, they got to be playing that up in the locker room. It's like, oh, they wanted to see us, huh? They wanted to beat Minnesota. They got us. They could have saw the Cousins in the first round. So here we go. And this is staggering from Steve Makinen. There's three unbelievable things he has in Point Spread Weekly. Here's one of them. In the 3-6 matchup, which is the Houston game and the Chicago game, in the 3-6 matchup the last 6 years, 11-0-1 to the under. How does that happen? Sick underrun in the 3-6 matchup. Mm-hmm. I mean, that doesn't make any. It's also,
no, it does not.
Yep. It's also the home teams. Home teams struggled last year. 2 years ago, they crushed it. 4-0 ATS 2 years ago. Last year, road teams went 4-0 ATS. First time since 1992. But the magic number this weekend is 20. When the home team scores 20 or more, they're on a 36-2 straight up run. One of the losers last year, Kansas City. But that's the magic number to look for this year. And that's something with that 3-6 number. And also the 3 seed. The 3 seed, which is the Houston game, as a dog less than 3 points. 3-point favorite. They've lost 8 in a row. They're 1-7 ATS, and they're averaging 13 points per game. Oh, my God. Oh.
Very good stuff.
Oh.
The angles that he tracks and comes up with. More wild card trends. The under has dominated over the past 6 years. 17-6-1 overall heading into 2019.
Yeah, and it's also correlated. When the road team wins, it's a 14-3-2 underrun. And for whatever reason, we've seen a ton of unders on the Sunday games. A 17-7 underrun with the Sunday games. And the road teams have done well on Sundays too.
Yep.
So that's but your big boy is pick the winner in this round.
Yes. Just
pick the winner because you have great info on this. It's very rare. Now, it happened twice last year.
It did.
But the win non-cover almost never happens in this round.
Here you go. And this is not a small sample size whatsoever. This goes back 42 wild card playoff games. The outright winner owns a point spread record of 37-4-1. Think about that. Over the last 42 games, you're exactly right. Point spread, last year it actually did. Last 42 games, though, the point spread hasn't really come into play that often at all.
Saints won and didn't cover. Going by the opening line, Jacksonville won and didn't cover.
Those were the 2 games last year. That's it. Going back, 2 other ones as well, but 4 times it's happened in the last 42 games.
Wow.
That's startling.
So if you think the Eagles can win the game, there you go. Play the Eagles on the money line.
Uh-huh.
If you don't think the Eagles can win the game, don't take the 6. If you say, I'm not winning the game, I like the Bears, so then you lay the 6.
Now, it does go, it's up and down as well. So there's a lot of numbers here, right? In the last 2 years, we've seen home teams go 4-0 ATS. That was in 2017. And then the road teams came roaring back last year, 4-0 ATS sweep, including 2 outright upsets. Overall, the last 6 years, the ATS breakdown, road 12, home 11 with 1 push. But some of the stuff, the 3-6 totals, like you said, the under overall in the last 24 games, 17-6-1 to the under.
Mm-hmm. He crushed it. He did a great job in Point Spread Weekly. So many great nuggets like that. And how about the sharp money? How about follow the money? How about follow the money in this round, too, with the line move? 76% if you follow the sharp line moves in these games, that these guys know what they're doing.
Yep, 24-11 straight up, 23-11-1 in the last 35 wildcard playoff games. 76.7%. Guys have been awesome. Killing it. And what you said yesterday, too. The Teddy cover special.
Yeah, you would bet the Eagles. It goes back to 2002, Sagarin. Sagarin's strength of schedule. Just blindly bet the team that played a tougher schedule and that is 47-14-1 since 02. But if there's a difference of 10 or more, and that would be Dallas and Philly, it's over 80% since 2002. That is nuts.
Uh-huh.
And then wait till next week, because it's happened almost every year where you have a home team laying a stinker off the bye. A lot of one-and-dones, a lot of horrible performances going back 10, 15 years with the home team off the bye. Not every year, but there's a lot of them. I mean, it's a sick run here. It's like the worst of first, where it happens almost every year. A home team off a bye will lose, and in some instances will get blown out and look like garbage.
So I have the Colts in pocket as of right now, plus 2.5, and the Eagles plus 6. Those are my two bets so far. What are you looking at?
I took 3 with the Colts. I played some first half unders, and I bet Seattle.
Bet 2.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, very good. It's Follow the Money, Sirius XM 204 and fuboTV. We'll get into win some, lose some coming up next, recapping what happened last night in the sports betting world. I know this now, 5 straight overs for this team in the NHL. They are awesome at this. We'll explain it coming up next.
More of Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard is on the way.